Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And sadly, it seems that GameStop will not be selling itself after all. Now, you might be saying, why are you saying sadly? Because I don't want to see GameStop die like a lot of people. Yes, I know that GameStop is notorious for very shady business practices, and shady is putting it mildly. You have a guy talking to you right now that one of his most viewed videos is a GameStop packaging rant, when I purchased a copy of Resident Evil for the Wii, and I tore into GameStop about basically selling me a used game at a new game price. The game was opened, it wasn't shrink wrapped, and when I opened up the game, you know, just basically opening up the case, the disc was inserted into an envelope. It was not in the spindle where it belonged, and I was quite miffed by this, to say the least. And I had reposted a clip from that video in another video that I had posted fairly recently, and that was when GameStop lost $498 million. Yes, they did lose close to $500 million. Now, I'm sure they made up for that during the holiday season, but needless to say, GameStop has been in a tailspin for quite some time. They've been nosediving constantly. It is a very bad market for them right now because the market is greatly favoring digital content when it comes to video games. Now, I'm a physical copy type of gamer myself. Especially with the Wii channel going under recently, I think it's more important than ever that we support physical copies of games. I don't know why it got so popular. The downloadable versions of games are always more, take up way more space on your hard drive, and, hard drive space is very precious. In fact, I'm actually looking at getting additional storage for my Xbox because somehow 500 gigabytes just goes by like that. So, I bought a launch model Xbox One, and several years later, I am, very pressed for space. And, that just shouldn't be in the next gen when, like, terabytes are being used. Yeah, there's a terabyte, but that was not on the launch console. That was, on the re-release, unfortunately for me. So, I'm going to present you guys with an article right here from Uber Gizmo, and a little bit of an analysis of GameStop. And, it pretty much says it all right here in this article. GameStop, one of the largest retailers of video games and consoles, had announced in June last year that it was looking to sell itself. It was said to be in talks with private equity firms about a potential sale after it received interest of being bought out. It appears that a deal was not reached because GameStop has now announced that it has given up on efforts to secure a sale. And, they go on to talk about popular online retailers like Amazon, beating them out. And of course, there's also the game companies themselves that are selling the online games that, are just pouncing on GameStop and mauling them. So the company said that it has given up on efforts to sell itself after it failed to get a potential deal on terms which would be favorable. And investors didn't take the news lightly, and its shares were down 21% in early trading this morning. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know about stocks because I don't, but that's not good, obviously. And it doesn't seem like they are going to be selling themselves. They do say GameStop mentions that it also held discussions with other firms, but did not get financing on terms which would have been commercially acceptable to a potential buyer. It was never claimed that a deal was done, as GameStop had also cautioned in its initial announcement that there was no assurance of an agreement being reached. Now, this sadly sounds like they're pretty close to the end. Like, they must be eyeing other options. Because how do you go from, you know, looking to sell yourself? You know, I'm sure they were pretty confident that they could get it done. Me, personally, I thought that Amazon was going to buy them out. And I thought that would have been pretty interesting. Could you imagine if the section for video games on Amazon was renamed GameStop? Perhaps GameStop could sell them their assets, you know, their used games, and you could kind of have something like, you know, what they do with Amazon warehouse deals. You know, have these used products, you know, these open box products, and it could have, you know, been quite the sight to see, but disappointingly, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I don't want to see GameStop fade away. I want to see them around for quite some time. And maybe that's pretty selfish. I know they've done a lot of things. I mean, they've pissed me off with the packaging, them selling, you know, basically a used game of sorts as a new game. And of course, you know, a lot of people talk about the trade-in policy. I understand the trade-in policy. You know, they're not going to pay you 3/4 of what a game that's already been open is worth, even though they, you know, open their own games. You know, it's a lot of contradictions, but you were never going to get that top dollar trade-in value. There was also another store called Game Crazy. And, you know, they were excellent for retro games, by the way. Stuff that you wouldn't be able to find at GameStop years ago, you would be able to find at the Game Crazy. And it was put out by Hollywood Video. But, you know, they also had the same policy when it came to trade-ins. In fact, there were certain games that they wouldn't even take. So, actually, GameStop was even more flexible. Even, you know, them being the bigger corporation, even at that time. So, but it's a part of my childhood. You know, I hold them near and dear to my heart. And they have pissed me off when I go to, you know, look at a game, you know, that's been out for several years. And it's a used copy and it's $54.99 like with Super Mario Odyssey. I mean, here's the thing. $54.99. With tax, it's going to be $60. If you bought the game new for $60 for another, and with tax, another $5, well, that's here in New York anyway, it would be $65. So you're saving $5 fucking dollars to buy a game used. No thank you. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that pisses me off about them, but they're part of my childhood. Back when they used to be Funkoland, they bought up many EB stores. I hear that EB is still around. You know, I've heard different stories. It's very weird how, like, EB Games is still surviving in a certain way. But, you know, that's besides the point. It would be very sad to see GameStop go out of business. If I walk by one day, a local GameStop, and I see that their doors are shut, I've seen it before. There was a GameStop in my area that had been there for years that I had frequented many a time. And when it was closed down, I literally felt something inside. And it's something that you normally don't feel for a giant corporation. But it's like what it is with a lot of these game companies, giant corporations. But we still have many memories that we hold in our heart. You know, we all think about, you know, where we were when we purchased our GameCube, you know, where we purchased our N64. Now, a lot of people will say Toys R Us, and a lot of times that would be my answer during the 90s. But later on in the 2000s, if you ask me where I got most of my Xbox 360 games and my original Xbox and my GameCube games, the answer would undoubtedly be, you know, from a majority standpoint, would be GameStop or EB Games, you know, but GameStop a lot of the time. So, you know, they hold so many memories for me, and to see them go out of business, I would like to see them get a deal. I hope that they could bail themselves out in the end, but, you know, it doesn't look like that's going to happen at this point in time. Some people are going to celebrate, but I, for one, am not. I mean, it is sort of karma, the way they've treated their employees, you know, the terrible Circle of Life program. And, you know, there's a lot of people that, you know, put up a stink when they go into the store. They're harassed by the employees. Oh, sign up for this, do this warranty. You know, like, it's not like that in any store. Like, it's not like that in Best Buy. You know, like, it's not like that wherever you go where there's a store credit card or any type of rewards card. That's part of going shopping. I mean, honestly, people, if that's what you're complaining about, then I've never had like a real hard sell like that ever in a GameStop. It never happened. I mean, nobody likes to be offered stuff that they don't want. I get it. It's annoying. But it's not like it's a huge thing where we all have to get on, you know, YouTube and rant about. Sure, it's entertaining, and, you know, the more overblown stories are. I think a lot of the stories are fake. A lot of these GameStop horror stories, I believe, are put on. You know, I'm not saying that people probably didn't have bad experiences working there due to horrible managers and, you know, horrendous company policies. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people put that stuff on because, you know, GameStop negativity sells here on YouTube and on the internet due to all the other stuff they do. But like I said, you know, it is heartbreaking seeing a major retailer like this, which I have frequented so much in my life, even if I don't go there as much anymore as I used to, not even half as much as I used to, thanks to online, you know, Amazon and eBay and things of that sort. But anyway, guys, how do you feel about GameStop, you know, not getting bought out, that it doesn't seem like it's going to be a prospective business decision for them anymore? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like the channel, please hit a thumbs up for me. Subscribe. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.